All right. Hello and welcome to Radio Wasteland. I am your host, Chauncey Haworth, and this is my guest host, Sean Kitrick.
Hello.
All right. Tonight we have a fun guest. We got a paranormal investigator. We've had, a medium on before, Suzanne Freed. I think that was about our 6th show, and I really enjoyed that one because, I was posting on our Facebook page today saying that, of all the people that I've talked to who are into this sort of paranormal and this conspiracy stuff, we all kind of got there different ways. And my way of getting there was scary movies. And anybody who knows me knows that scary movies is my thing. I am so nerdy. I am currently... So when I get home at night, I like to work on the couch. And I can't watch something that I'm too invested in. So I've been I'm on like the 60th episode of the original Ghostbusters cartoon.
Oh, my goodness. Well.
Yeah. So,
let no one say that you haven't watched every scary movie, TV show, cartoon, whatever that exists.
And that's really what got me here is I watched all this stuff and I thought, man, wouldn't it be cool if that stuff was real?
It would be cool.
What made you interested in this stuff?
I
don't think you're a big horror movie fan.
No, not necessarily.
I have a guess.
You have a guess?
I do.
I'd like to hear your guess.
I think you're kind of like a curator of the weird.
Yeah, that's about right. I do have a fairly insatiable appetite for anything that is even slightly out of the ordinary.
Yeah,
So.
I wonder about this, if certain people are just born counterculture, and I'm not even talking on some sort of political level. I'm just talking on basically if somebody when I was even a little kid said something was weird or something like that, I was interested.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Weird was good when I was a kid. Of course it was.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about our guest tonight. Yeah. I'm excited to maybe hear some scariness.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm interested because there's something, just like with the medium, there's something very appealingly blue collar about someone who goes around and, deals with ghost problems.
I get what you're saying, and I hope nobody takes any offense to that. I totally get what you're saying.
I think it's cool, roll up your sleeves, fix this issue with this ghost.
Yeah, you're like the plumbers of the
exactly
of the supernatural world,
It
instead
sort of
of writing
makes it more
books
real.
and writing books and giving lectures, you're out there in dark, dank basements trying to find
That's right.
things that go bump in the night.
Yeah.
I do like that. In fact, one of the things that I'm going to ask Melissa Lockett, who is our guest, is they work out of Sacramento. And so I'm going to see if on a documentarian level, if we can go with them on one of their expeditions.
Oh.
And, I'm not going to expect an answer from her on the radio, but I am going to propose the question because I want to go and I want to take some cameras and I want to see what it's like. A lot of these people might find that I think in their case there's people with what they refer to as gifts.
Sure.
I don't know if they call it clairvoyance or what they call it, but some level of mediumship. And so I don't know if they would find that sort of thing distracting. And of course.
Yeah, I think it varies. I've heard tell of other paranormal investigators having amateurs tagging along, here and there, but I imagine it very much depends, varying on the outfit.
Well, I figure between you, me, and Joe, we've all invested enough time and money into our electronics equipment that we should probably put it to some good use.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I haven't invested any money.
Well, you're the only one who's invested any time into it.
That's true.
On our other show, Digital Revolution Show, you're the one out there interviewing people.
That is true.
So you might have some mad cinematography skills.
I don't know if cameras can pick up ghosts. I'll have to ask about that.
I wouldn't intend on picking up ghosts. I think my goal would be to just pick up the experience.
Yeah, that's
fair. Especially when you're dealing with clairvoyance and mediums and stuff like that. They're seeing things and feeling things that maybe you're not seeing or feeling. And so I don't think you can expect a camera to
pick up a ghost. No,
to pick up what
no.
one is sensing,
Yeah.
with their extrasensory abilities. Well, so, I think in our first section, we're really going to cover what they're about, what she does, how they got involved, and, what kind of tools they use and stuff like that. But in the following section, I'm going to try to squeeze some scary stories out of her. Mm. I want to know what the scariest experience was.
Yeah, well, being in Sacramento, I'm sure she's
There's
covered
a lot of history
a wide area, probably, not just Sacramento.
Yeah, twice a year I take my kids to the Sac Anime convention down there, and I check it out for a little bit. But being a grown up, that it's not much of a costume wearing guy.
Sure,
I have two outfits. My wife and I tend to go to Old Sacramento.
Yes.
And bum around there, and man, I really enjoy it down there.
It's a place that would be easy to believe is haunted.
Yeah, somebody had to die in the making of that place.
Oh, absolutely.
There has to be some sort of miserable, horrible death that went on there.
Buried in the walls or
Right.
the foundations.
Right.
Pyramids.
Totally. They ran out of rocks.
Yeah.
They started using corpses. All right, so coming up next, we have our guest, Melissa Lockett of Spirit.
I am excited.
All right, this is Radio Wasteland. All right, welcome back to Radio Wasteland. We have tonight's guest, Melissa Lockett, is a paranormal investigator with Spirit from Sacramento, California. Melissa, do we got you on the line?
Yes, you sure do. Can you hear me well?
I can hear you just fine.
We can, yes.
Perfect.
Melissa, we've had our chit-chats back and forth. This is Chauncey, and this is my co-host tonight, Sean.
Hello.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good.
Very good. Actually, I'm really excited about this one. I think if you were listening before the break, I am a horror movie fanatic. And so I really got interested in these topics from my obsession with horror movies. And I don't know. A lot of people, when they say they like horror movies, they like slash 'em up stuff. But not me. I mean, I want them all supernatural. That's what I enjoy.
Yeah.
So I am very excited about what you have to share with us.
Oh, well, I'm glad. And thank you so much for inviting me to be on the show. It's nice to have a platform for this somewhat controversial but very fascinating subject. So I really, I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and it is interesting how it's become much more mainstream. Well, I don't know if mainstream's the right word, but less controversial over the years. And I think as people start to sort of acquire evidence and stories, and people start to, raise an eyebrow.
That's true.
I have noticed that there has been sort of an upward trend. Maybe it's becoming more acceptable. There's a lot more television programs, a lot more documentation, and like you said, evidence, which is making people less afraid to discuss it.
Right. So when we got started here, I, of course, hopped right in talking about myself, talking about how I got interested in this. But I would like to know, how did you get interested in this stuff?
Well, it's sort of a complex, layered thing.
We have plenty of time.
Yeah. I have been spiritually gifted since I was a very young child, noticing things pass by, seeing full-bodied apparitions, having dreams about my friends and family that later came true, sort of basic, all of those kind of things.
So what would you call yourself before I let you move on there? Would you call yourself a medium or gifted or clairvoyant? What would you define that as?
I think that, while labels are not my favorite thing, if I had to sort of put myself in a lane, my business card says I'm an empathic medium. And that really does feel right, just because the empath part, I sense emotions, physical pains, traumas of both the living and the deceased. And the mediumship part really plays in there just with my ability to connect to those that have passed over and be able to tap into whatever kind of messages they need to get across. I also am able to read auras and do Reiki healing. I am actually almost on my way to being a Reiki master. I'm really trying to diversify my ability to help our clients, and so educating myself in all the different avenues has really been valuable.
So your early experiences with these things, were they, as far back as you can remember?
Yeah, definitely. Very young, but preteen, I recall one of my first most kind of traumatic experiences, which now I know it wasn't as traumatic as I thought it was. It turned out to be one of my relatives, but they manifested completely in the hallway, starting out sort of skeleton-like and became a full human apparition and then disappeared. And that was
terrifying.
It was terrifying. I screamed like bloody murder. My grandmother came running. I did not tell her what I saw. I told her I had a bad dream. I didn't want to be labeled as crazy. I didn't want someone to think, oh gosh, what's this, kid, she's seeing things in the hallway. And I really did kind of close up and bottle up my gifts for a long time. And, every once in a while I would tell somebody, oh, I sense this about you, or I feel this about you. But I would never really, really go into great detail about it. I simply would sort of push it to the side. It wasn't until my grandmother passed away in 2007 that I really started to reopen things and decide, you know what, I need answers. I need to know what it is. Why can I do this? Why do I know the things that I do? And moreover, where did my grandmother go? And is she okay? And
right.
is there an afterlife? Even though I was a person of faith, I really needed an answer. I needed something. I'm analytical as well. I needed that ironclad information, and started to really research it more, explore my gift. I started watching all the paranormal shows, really got into those to try to understand how this works. Is this really a thing? Am I just, fooling myself? And I didn't actually get into proper paranormal investigation until 2013. And that really got me going and got me rolling to where I could actually gain true evidence, EVPs, photographic evidence, things that I could find to be tangible, and actually explore my mediumship into a level where I finally believe in it.
So that's a good segue for me to have you tell us a little bit about Spirit, the group that you do your investigations with. How did that come about?
So Spirit itself, basically the way we sort of launched, it's been a hybridization. My entire group came from all sorts of areas, walks of life, and we met in a couple previous paranormal groups that we were affiliated with and sort of whittled our way down to the core that we have now, which we felt we all resonated the best with each other. No team is necessarily better or worse than another. It's just we fit together as, puzzle pieces. We all felt we investigated the best.
And brought something different to the table, I'm sure.
Yeah. We all have different gifts, different abilities, different interests. And we just really thought that just as friends and as co-investigators, we fit the best resonance as a group. And so in 2015, we finally launched what is now Spirit. And it really it's taken off from there. We've just, ever since we launched, just case after case after case.
Really?
Which, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So I'm guessing, I might be wrong, but in your group, from some of my online stalking of you and your constituents.
Research.
Yeah,
as what Sean calls his research.
Stalking the facts.
Right, stalking the facts. It seems that your group is sort of split a little bit down the middle of people with gifts and maybe some technological expertise.
Yeah, yes and no. I would say every member of my group has some level of spiritual gift, whether it's just being sensitive or, being able to pick up on things, all the way down to, full-blown mediums. We have a druid priest on the team. But we also have, we have the tech side. Our videographer and webmaster, Wendy, she's got a gift with the tech. She can make our videos just highlighting all the perfect information so perfect. All of our members, are very, very talented with their various pieces of the tech equipment, the photography, our K2 meters, our eddy meters, all of the different things that we use. We definitely have tech nerds.
What are some of those equipment that people use? I know maybe a couple of them, something grabbing the electromagnetic field, maybe?
Yeah, we definitely have several pieces of equipment, more than one piece of equipment that deals with the electromagnetic fields. The K2 is the most common that a lot of people see. It's the most simple. If something comes up to it, the lights will flash. And we also have one that does temperature fluctuation. It'll beep if the temperature spikes 5 degrees above or below the baseline temperature of the room. They also do pick up regular electronics, and we have to know to debunk that. We have to be smart to say, hey, I'm next to a refrigerator. Of course it's going to go off. Now, if you're in the middle of a room and there's nothing around you and absolutely no reason for a reading to pop up on the meter and it starts going crazy, we start to wonder and question what that is and break out all the other equipment.
Especially if it moves and you can't recreate it in that exact location, because electronics, I'm sure, would recreate.
And that is true. It can dodge you. You'll get a fleeting reading. You'll have to figure out where is it going, why is it going, is it leading you towards another place? Sometimes the energies like to guide us to a specific room because there's more significant data to gather there, and they will literally draw us, both the sensitives and the equipment, to go to a particular direction. And we have to follow, that to actually gain some information. But we don't like to rely on just one piece of equipment, which is why we break out things like the eddy meter, which does all the other environmental data, the barometric pressure, just the temperature, the humidity changes. Why are these things changing in a room where it shouldn't?
You guys are the real deal with all this equipment.
No, we break it all out. We even go old school and break out compasses at times.
Oh, absolutely,
to see, is there anything in the environment that is varying, magnetic-wise, and what's going on? And all of our camera equipment, we've got night vision, full spectrum, regular daylight, all of that, because we'd like to catch things in different lights and in different spectrums. The full spectrum camera can actually see in the ultraviolet and beyond our visual spectrum that the human eye can see. So that sometimes, and in theory, is able to capture mists, anomalies, light changes that we're just not able to pick up. But often, if our meters are going off and we shoot the camera there, we should, generally be picking up some kind of anomaly going by. So it's really important to break out all the equipment and just kind of gather that data, because it's our sensitives are amazing. My entire group, including myself, we are gifted in our abilities, and we really do appreciate that part of ourselves. But validating it with the equipment is valuable for us.
Absolutely, and probably for the client as well.
Yeah, the client needs the sort of the twofold system. They want the reading. They want the medium to come in and knock their socks off and tell them, what's going on. But they want to see that hard and fast data, including
Melissa,
the skeptics.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but we're coming up on break here. I have a ton of questions for you, and I'm very excited to ask them. But, we got to pay the bills. We'll be back with Melissa Lockett right after this break. All right, welcome back to Radio Wasteland with our guest, Melissa Lockett of Spirit. Maybe I have been avoiding Melissa saying exactly what Spirit stands for because I'm a little scared that I'm going to get the words wrong. Can you tell us what Spirit stands for? I know it's Sacramento Paranormal Investigation.
It's a long-winded. It's Sacramento Paranormal Intuitive Research Investigation Team.
I don't know. That's
and I felt
pretty accurate.
That's the best.
Yeah.
We are all intuitive, but we do a whole heck of a lot of research and investigation as well. So it really felt like an adequate name, a good acronym. I wanted the kitschy acronym, and I wanted the words to fit. So
right. Yeah, no, that's the best way to come up with an acronym.
Yeah, it sounds to me like you really didn't have to torture it too much to get it spell out Spirit.
Yeah, absolutely.
All accurate.
Yeah, some good, nothing wrong with some good marketing if you're trying to get your message out there.
Exactly. I mean, it was accurate and authentic. So I thought, this suits us. And as a collective, the whole team voted on it. We are a democracy. We vote on everything. Mm-hmm. So, it worked.
And for those listeners out there was no sarcasm with that marketing thing. Sean and I's day job is marketing.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Oh, cool.
We love marketing.
So at the beginning of the show, during the introduction, I talked a little bit about how I've been marathoning out these Ghostbusters cartoons. I don't know if you caught that part. In your talking about these things that you see, you've used, I don't want to sideline you to have it too much to do with Ghostbusters, but you've used these terms that are similar with the, like, free-floating apparition and the full-body thingamajig. What are some of these things that you're saying? And also, as a side note, is there such a thing as Tobin's Spirit Guide?
I don't know.
Okay. That was a joke question. But really, what are some of, is there actually classifications for the things that you see? Like, I've heard of orbs, and you mentioned mists.
There's even heavy debate within the paranormal community in and of itself, as far as orbs, mists, full-bodied, stuff like that, psychokinetic manifestations, poltergeists. They all are, to me, legitimate terminology, and there's not much of a better word for a big ball of light on film except for orb.
Right.
But there's a lot of debate on that. Are they just dust? Are they skin? Are they moisture? And you know what? A lot of them are.
Well, yeah,
however,
I'm sure they are.
There's plenty of circumstances we have had where we literally ask, hey, can you guys come forward? Can you guys show yourself on film? And on video, all of a sudden, something floats out, and there it is, the big ball of light floating by us. How else do we explain that when it's intelligent movement and it's literally coming out when we've asked for it?
Right.
And also when they go through glass, I'm sorry.
Hard for moisture to do that.
Traverse through glass, except for what we feel is a spirit of some kind. The thing that inspired me and sort of started me to get into actual investigation was one of my own captures in my own bedroom, and it was a full-on vortex, which is basically like a paranormal hurricane sort of looking item, and it boggled my mind. I did not quite understand what I was capturing a photograph of at the time, and submitted it for other paranormal people in the community to review and explain to me, which is what triggered an investigation at my house and then subsequently me getting into the field.
I see.
So there are all of these things you hear, even in the kitschy little movies. I mean, they are using some proper terminology, and then, of course, some of it's just goofy. I've never actually experienced literal, like, ectoplasm like you'd see in Ghostbusters or anything like that. That's not a thing I've experienced. But we do feel energy.
Well, from what I've read, ectoplasm, like the movies have it flying all over the place, it's, some sort of crazy ectoplasm wrestling or something, But, but from what I've read about it, it's actually like when they would do seances and mediumship, it's actually something that would come out of people as a physical manifestation and then go back into them. I
have read those things, and I have seen those documentaries as well. And again, I have never personally experienced that either. Mm-hmm. Even when I have read people and or full-on channeled a spirit, no, I have never had anything eject or return into me in that fashion.
I did find it a little dubious when I read it, but,
it's a little strange. Yeah, I have never, that has not been my experience. I don't know, maybe somebody else has had that experience, but that has not been true for me. What has been true for myself and my group, as we've stuck our hand in locations like in a weird closet or somewhere and felt static electricity, cotton candy type of feeling, just like cold electricity.
So talking about these different types of things, Sean here had a question.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions just about the theory of it all. And
okay, sure.
First of all, things like orbs, vortexes, mists, that kind of thing, do you think those, even if they're not manifesting in like a humanoid form, are dead people, basically? Not to put too fine a point on it. But.
Yeah, either dead, they're either the actual energy signature of, the soul, the energy of a dead human, or they are part of the passageway. Like the vortex in my room is more of a passageway. It's not my grandmother's spirit. It is the passageway with which she uses to go back and forth.
So it's more of a consequence of the spirit's presence that produces these.
Yeah.
At the risk of taking poetic license, it's like it's the rip between worlds or something.
Yeah.
Sort of the veil. I mean, people have heard that term before, like Halloween, the veil is thin, It's sort of that sort of energy, the mists and things like, or if just a mist starts to form, that can be the energy forming right around the actual spirit. I did have that experience the other night where not only did I see the apparition, but there was quite a glowing blue mist around the apparition. So they do come along with their own energy bubble, as it were.
All right, Sean, get him out there.
Yeah,
he's squirming. He has so many questions.
No, this is so cool. I was about to ask. I know a bunch of people who have had experiences like this, and you, as a paranormal investigator who investigates, I wonder what your opinion is on how common these events are. How likely it is that someone dies and comes back as a ghost, for example.
Well, to be honest, I think it's more common than people would like to admit. Yeah. I think there's still a lot of fear in the everyday community. For me, I talk about it all day, every day.
Exactly.
For me, it's perfectly normal, and for me, it's a daily occurrence. But there's a lot of people out there that are just not talking about it and are really terrified to be labeled as loony or not making sense or that type of thing, and afraid to ask for help.
Is this something you're open about? In jobs and social situations, and do you find that you get a lot of smack back about it? Yes,
I have encountered sort of all ends of the spectrum. I am very lucky in the sense that at my job, where I'm just a regular, boring, analyst, most of my coworkers are either fascinated by it, want to hear about it, or at the very least respect me enough to say, that's cool, whatever, to each their own, right on. A few people have been less than receptive, and you know what? I do respect their boundaries, and I don't think this is for everybody, and it may challenge their perception of reality too much, and I don't want to upset people. And my social situations, most of my friends really embrace and love me, and don't take the judgmental side, and the ones that do, they're
probably
nice
aren't your friend for very long.
Yeah, they don't judge. They either judge or they're not my close friends. My closest friends are extremely supportive, and I'm very comfortable talking about it, probably because I hid it for so long. And now I'm just really embracing it. And it's been proved over and over and over again to me that these things are real, these things are happening. I'm getting all the validation that I need for the mediumship part of it. And I'm just deciding, you know what? Look, we're helping people. We're giving them back their homes and their lives. They're able to sleep again. Their kids feel safe again. Their pets are not being tormented. That kind of healing, I don't care about the judgment anymore. The fact that we can help these wonderful, beautiful families just feel okay again.
And
it's worth it all.
We're coming up on break again, but that's what I want to hear about in our last segment. One of the things that I want to know is some of the scary stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So if you can, inventory some of that in your brain in our last segment after the break here, I want to get some of that out of you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, you're listening to Melissa Lockett on Radio Wasteland. We'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome back to Radio Wasteland with our guest, Melissa Lockett of Spirit, a paranormal investigation group, which I am not going to attempt to do the acronym. No point in explaining the acronym every time. An acronym is good enough. So before we get to what we really want to know, I got to say, we don't live that far away from you, and so I would like you to propose to your people that one of these times when you guys go out, we would like to come down and be a part and check it out. We'll keep quiet. We'll keep out of the way. You don't got to answer me now. Talk to your peeps and get back to me. To me online. All right. So
sure. Glad to.
I want to hear something scary. What do you got?
Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, so we got a couple of things, and it kind of, every case has its own mildly scary aspect, just the unknown, of course. And very frequently on our digital recorders and our SB11 Spirit Box, we get a lot of vulgarity. We get sweared at and I get called a lot of names, to be honest, on our recordings and our Spirit Box.
Are a lot of these ghosts angry? Is that a large part of what leads them to be ghosts?
The negative ones, they're pissed off that I'm there. They're pissed off that I'm going to cleanse them out, because my cleansing kit is now a tackle box. I have everything in it. And they get really, really belligerent with me. And they call me some really, really rude names. And a couple of cases that in particular, you want the scary.
I do.
One that is of moderate scariness was a case where just a beautiful, beautiful woman, lovely older lady, was being tormented for decades by spirits that followed her from her Detroit home all the way here to California. And it turns out from the research that we did and from some of the evidence we gathered that he was a former Nazi, and she was an African-American lady.
That's terrorizing already. That's terrifying.
And it literally
already,
grabbed her in her sleep and grabbed her skull and her head and picked her up and threw her. And she thought she was having a stroke. She went to the hospital. Her kids came. She did not have a stroke. She medically checked out. And it was not a nightmare, because there was bruising. She was injured, but there was no sign of a heart attack, stroke, anything like that. No mental illness, none of that type of deal. And we fought with that entity. It actually started to close a door on me when I was trying to bless the home. We actually got one of our investigators, Brent, who was able to speak German, and started to give orders to this entity during our Spirit Box session with it. And it really reacted. The energy shifted. Things really changed. And we cleansed that home up, down, left, and right with everything, the holy water, brick dust, sage, Palo Santo wood. I mean, I broke out everything. And happy to say she's doing a lot better, and things have really stabilized for her. But it was a petrifying case, just with the energy of it. And we actually have been talked to by a couple of those paranormal shows you see where they, like the Paranormal Witness, Paranormal Survivor, that type of thing. They're very interested in her particular case, right. And so we're hoping to shed a little more light on it, just because of the fact that it spanned decades of her life.
Right.
The worst of the worst, the most terrifying case we've had.
All right, let's have it.
Oh, yes.
It involved what I would consider a possession.
Oh.
The woman in that
Wait, before you hop into this one, when you say possession, do you think like demonic, or do people get possessed by a ghost?
This was demonic.
Okay, go ahead. I'm in.
Yeah, she had been going back and forth and having a lot of different issues. Some of her issues were just underlying, and they were medical conditions. But she began to act erratically when we arrived, and became very confused and disoriented. And when I brought out the holy water, she ran from me. And she fell on the floor and began writhing around and speaking in different languages and tongues. Her eyes were rolling back in her head. Every time, even when her eyes were closed, if I touched her with a crucifix, if I touched her with holy water or oil, she actually screamed. And showing visible signs of reaction to these holy items. Mm-hmm. And that was a challenging case. We worked and worked and worked and worked with her. And while there was an actual human spirit also in her home, that was rectified immediately, and that was cleansed out. And the attachment to her, which I believe was demonic, was also broken. However, the follow-up care that we requested that she do, she unfortunately refused and did not take our advice. And that turns into the type of case where we give them everything we can, and it is up to them to fight for the rest of the healing. So we were definitely scared. There was only 4 of us there, and to basically battle with a woman who is writhing around on the floor and kicking and swinging her arms, that put a little fear into me.
I'm sure.
That drives it home that this is extremely real.
I'm sure there's a lot of situations where you're also, in the dark recesses of the places that you're researching, where there's terrifying brushes and terrifying sounds and general startle experiences.
Oh, I get startled so easily. It's sickening. I'm supposed to be this really good.
I'm proud of you for being a paranormal researcher willing to admit that.
Yeah, no, I startle. I'm sort of like, Chad Lindbergh from Ghost Stalkers. I scream and I startle and I start to like, crap.
Yeah.
I do kind of get a little startly, but you know what? Hey, it's authentic. It's how I really feel. So
and I mean, if you're empathic, I think that's to be expected, that you're feeling the tension build up, and right. So, unfortunately, I have to say we're coming up close to the end of the show here. So I want to give you a chance to tell our listeners and our internet audience where they can find out more about you and maybe learn more about your services.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We have just a real fancy, dandy website at www.sacspirit.com. Our YouTube channel is fun and exciting. It is under Maxim Mysteries. That's MAXAM Mysteries. And it would be under the Spirit playlist. We're, of course, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of good and groovy stuff. So all the social media platforms. You can follow, all the good stuff.
Right.
Our paranormal hotline is 916-363-3165.
Mm-hmm.
And basically on our website and everything else, all the good information is there, how to, contact us. Private Facebook messages get answered pretty quickly. We answer the phone as often as we are near it. Our website contact is a contact us page. And we're pretty flexible. We do all have day jobs, so we generally investigate on weekends, Fridays, Saturdays. Approximately a 2-hour radius from here is kind of our range. We have bent that rule. We do go a little bit farther. There are clients that really do need us. We do offer phone and email consults for the super long distance that we can't get to.
Mm-hmm.
And we do everything we can to help as many as we can. We do our gifted people do private readings. It's kind of a general, rule. We do a lot of stuff locally, obviously, in the Sacramento and surrounding cities, but we're definitely flexible. We've gone as far as Los Palos. We do try to help as many people as we can, and like I said, we do email cleansing and blessing instructions. We've emailed instructions all the way to Texas. People we obviously cannot go to. So,
well, we will definitely be happy to share all of your information on our sites and social networks as well.
Thank you.
I have had a great time. I wish we had more time. We have really enjoyed learning from you, and I will be in touch soon. I've really enjoyed talking to you, Melissa.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
You've been listening to Radio Wasteland. That was our guest, Melissa Lockett from Spirit. Check us out next time.